Thank you. So this paper is about improvement of surface finishing, characteristic of laser sintered stainless steel 316 by nickel plating. But in this talk, I would be mainly focusing on a surface finishing step that is required to do before we start the nickel plating. And my name is Pawan Tyagi, and this work is being carried out by my students, Andrew Grizzle, Josh Dillard, Tobias Gollet, and we have a number of industry partners with whom we do this additive manufacturing research. So our partners are Kansas City Nuclear Security Plant, Oak Ridge National Lab, and funding is from National Nuclear Security Agency, NNSA. So before, let me just move on.
Spencer, can you put your presentation in presenter mode, slideshow mode, please?
Okay.
Thank you.
Is this not, are you, is it okay? Now,
that's much better. Go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah, so our additive manufacturing post-processing research is basically a combination of both research using a metal 3D printer, which is kind of right in the center, EOS machine, and we have a lot of nanotechnology tools in our laboratory. So we try to combine additive manufacturing and nanotechnology together to come up with new strategies, how to improve metal 3D printed parts and apply them for the intended applications. So the plan of talk is the following. So I would be discussing surface roughness reduction by electropolishing, surface roughness reduction by chemical polishing, comparing electropolishing versus chemical polishing method, and future plan. So as I mentioned before, somebody want to improve nickel, somebody want to put nickel coating on the additive manufacturing components. So first thing is that they need to improve the surface quality because as produced metal 3D printers are pretty rough, and you have roughness pretty much of the order of like a 20 micron RA. It is as rough as if somebody do not do shaving for a couple of days, and if you put your hand on your face, then it feel like that. So in order to do nickel coating, it need to be smoothened out first. So so I have some reasons here why surface roughness reduction is important. So first reason for doing surface improvement is as produced surface roughness of an component is very high. This prohibits the direct utilization of AM components for the intended application. So no matter how good a part is made, but if somebody do not reduce down the roughness, it cannot be used further. So this is very important. Second reason is for most of the engineering applications, surface roughness must be reduced significantly. For example, if somebody want to apply a metal 3D printed parts for aerospace application or biomedical application, so you need to reduce the roughness because during the loading, when loading is of fatigue type, most of the defects start on the surface. And due to that, surface reduction is roughness reduction is very important. Same thing goes for the corrosion and wear properties. And next reason is reducing surface roughness is exponentially more challenging for the internal surface of a component. So metal 3D printing is touted important because it can produce very complex geometries, which you cannot produce any other way. So, but when you produce a sample like that, there are a lot of internal surfaces which you cannot clean or reduce the roughness. So our group has been expertising in that area, how to clean inside of the complex samples. So I would be speaking a little bit about that. And our main approach is, which is the fourth area in this, is use of solution-based surface finishing approaches. Because solution can go into the hidden areas of the sample and it can do surface finishing. And this method has been time tested on the conventional metallurgical components. So people have been trying that. So we have adopted some of the technology which are already known for the conventional metallurgical components. So this is just very quickly, there are a few papers which have been published by us. So how do we do that? So for the electropolishing, we just start with a bath. So this bath is basically made up of a acid solution. So I'm just, let me see if I can do annotate and my tool. Okay, yeah, so I'm here. So this bath is made up of nickel solution, acid solution, almost 70% phosphoric acid and 30% sulfuric acid. We put cathode, which is generally tantalum coated stainless steel. And then our AM component is submerged. And then we apply voltage or we control the current. And as panel B shows, initially you have a lot of hills and valleys on the surface. But as you start applying a lot of electric field at the place of high value, at the hill, a lot of electric field get concentrated. And due to that, a faster etching happens at that point. So this hill start leveling, and similarly, if you have valley, then valley start becoming broader. So that's how actually your very rough surface start becoming very smooth. So this is actually the here. This is the sample. Actually, it shows as produced surfaces here, and when you do electropolishing, it can become mirror smooth. So in order to optimize what set of variables are important for us, we have started playing with time, composition of the bath, temperature, and agitation. And we played with number of levels for that to come up with the optimum combination. And we generally use a design of experimental approach. So this paper is actually, this work is shown in Taguchi Design of Experiment for optimization of electrochemical polishing. So this has been published. Now I'm moving to the next one. Say annotate, clear, all right. Okay. Sorry, my screen got frozen a little bit, so I'm going to mouse. Okay.
Having some difficulty there?
Yeah, no, I think it's okay. Okay. So these are actually, as I mentioned in the beginning, we are expertising in the field of doing surface finishing for the complex geometry. So the cylinder which you are seeing here, this is made up of stainless steel, and this is a hollow cylinder, and hollow means it has a spiral inside. So we started working on this solution, how to clean inside and outside. So what I'm showing here is like from the bottom, if you see, it used to be the starting surface roughness. But you can make it to almost atomically, not atomically, but nanometer scale smoothness. So figure, so next figure is where you see panel A, B, C, D. So these are the roughness measurement. So panel B show the roughness measurement corresponding to the level number 1. Sorry, number 1 area, it is very rough, but by the time we get to the point 3, it is very smooth. And that's what actually we are looking for. So one of the major contribution from our group is that we also figured out how much material one should remove in order to get the very smooth surface. So this optical profilometry is done like starting from point 1 to 3. So you can see from very rough surface, I'm now on the rightmost figure, panel A and B. So panel B shows a kind of etching depth versus the scan length graph. So when you remove almost 200 micron, basically your roughness reduced from a very high value to sub-nanometer scale or sub-micron scale roughness. So here comes some study of like scanning electron microscopy of the rough versus a smooth surface. So panel A is a kind of, it's a very smooth side. You can see it has almost kind of cleared up all the hills and valleys. Here you can see for the panel B, you see a lot of crusty, like marsh-like surface, a lot of hills and valleys. So this is used to be the starting point. And yeah, this is actually one of the major fear for people who want to apply additive manufacturing for aerospace, biomedical, or challenging situations. Panel C is kind of little bit zoomed out version. So if you kind of start coming out and you can see the scale. So it is 2 micron meter scale. So you can see a lot of features which are present on the surface. It tells you a little bit like a microstructure of the AM parts, which appears once you do surface cleaning. But if you do not do that, like you still see a lot of hills and valley, very rough surfaces. So one of the major, and now actually I'm the right side figure. So this is showing you microstructure of area which are optimally cleaned and over cleaned. So what I mean by like optimal clean, so optimal clean means like point number 2 in the cylinder, that is right in the middle. So you can see this is kind of so we see a lot of holes, but this is a relatively flat surface. But if somebody tried to do etching for the longer period, we see like a lot of honeycomb like structure. So from outside it look very clean and very smooth, but microstructure wise there are a lot of pits along each honeycomb structure. So my hypothesis is that like if somebody tried to apply this over etched or over cleaned sample, there may be again a lot of failures because you have a lot of defects created. But we have not done that part. Go ahead.
Conscious of time, just ask you if you can wrap up for us. Conscious of time.
Okay, so let me just I'll do one more slide and then I'll kind of wrap up. So I have shown our optical profilometry study, scanning electron microscopy study. So now here is the figure 9. Basically it has taken from one paper. So this is showing you reflectance versus light wavelength graph. So your rough surface is very unreflective. It doesn't reflect much, but your electropolished surface is highly reflective. So we are working with some lighting industries through our collaborator. So they want to have 3D printed light for your headlight. So they want very high reflectance. So this is where we are working. And figure 10 is showing you the water contact angle measurement study on unpolished sample and electropolished sample. So on unpolished sample, you can see water contact angle is almost 90 degrees and it become 45 after surface finishing. So that what it means, like surface chemistry of the surface of AM component is changing significantly because of the surface treatment. So I will just wrap up here and I'll say like, so electropolishing is one method. We have also tried cam polishing. Probably at some other occasion we will take opportunity. And I have a number of papers I can share with our host to disseminate if anybody is interested in it. So great. Yeah, now we are open for questions.
Lovely. Thank you for that very interesting presentation. I have a few questions for you. So I wanted to get a chance for you to at least have a chance to answer. The first one, can sandblasting be used in conjunction with this solution technique?
Yeah, so sandblasting is the first thing which generally happens, but sandblasting can only happen on the outer surface. Okay. You cannot do sandblasting for the, let's say you think of it like a cube, hollow cube, and you don't have much area to enter inside the cube. So you can do sandblasting outside, but not inside.
Okay, I have another one for you. In terms of duration, how long would it take to get certain SPCC specified surface finish, say an SPC 10 finish?
So frankly speaking, I don't recall what does it relate to, but I can just tell you in the beginning, when we start, surface roughness is close to 10 micron RA. But by the time we finish, we can get to the surface roughness of almost like 1 micron RA.
Okay, very good.
And it takes almost like 20 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes.
20. All right.
Yeah.
And last question for you.
Yeah.
This technique seems a bit difficult to use for large scale components. Do you want to comment on that?
So as I mentioned, this electropolishing technique has been already tested for almost 40 years in all the industry, most of the industries. So, and they have fine-tuned all the parameters and the issues with that. So what we are trying to do, we are using the conventional technology and applying it in the additive manufacturing. So I don't see any problem because this thing has been already taken care of. But mostly issue will be wherever you have complex surface. So let's say if I have a hollow cylinder, so my surface cleaning outside may be more uniform, but inside may be a little bit challenging.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Tyagi. I appreciate your time. I appreciate